What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Cafe and Views. Today we went to Maru Coffee and we got ourselves the cream top. Maru Cafe is located at 1936 Hillhurst Avenue in Los Angeles, California in Los Feliz. The Maru Cafe is located on a pretty busy street. The shop is only outdoors. There's no seating inside, so it's kind of like a pop-up coffee shop in a way. The interior is really nice. It's really updated, super modern, and it definitely fits the 2021 theme, so it's more on the modern side as opposed to the typical old school coffee shop look that I like. They are doing renovations inside to make it a little bit more modern. They do have a few snacks to choose from. Their menu is not really extensive when it comes to like finger food. They have a few croissants, muffins, cookies, things like that. Not really anything extensive. And their coffee menu is not really that extensive either. They do have the typical coffees that you would find in a normal cafe. And they do have signature coffees as well. There's about 6 different to choose from, but they're all pretty normal. Nothing is really out of the blue like French toast or coconut or anything different like that. They're more so in the same realm. But I got the cream top. It does have espresso beans on the top. The cream, you can see the little espresso at the bottom and then the coffee in the middle. So presentation is definitely there, but the outside is pretty dope. There's not really much seating here, so you can't really sit here and enjoy your coffee as much as other coffee shops, but they do have some seating, a bench or two, and then the bench on the side as well. But the atmosphere does check out. It does feel a little bit cozy when you're in Los Feliz. I kind of wish that they had indoor seating to make it feel a little bit better, because the atmosphere on the inside is really dope, and I would really like to enjoy it a whole lot more being inside. Outside is still okay, but you don't really get that full experience being outside. So for the overall coffee shop look, I'm gonna put this at about a 2.5 out of 5. Let's talk about aroma. So the majority of the coffee I'm getting for aroma is that creaminess. I'm getting a little bit of that coffee as well, but the majority of it is the espresso and the cream that's on top. I'm not really getting anything else that's really prominent. It is pleasant, but it's not really sticking out as much. I mean, the overall smell of it is making me happy, but it's not super prominent. It's not super out there. The projection is not out there either. So you're not really gonna get a good aroma from this coffee unless you put your nose right up against it. But I am able to kind of get a little bit of that taste just by smelling it. So the little bit of aroma that's there is translating to taste ever so slightly. So I'm curious to see if I'm actually gonna be able to pick up the same taste that I do in the aroma. But I am overall happy smelling this coffee. It is uplifting me. The presentation value is definitely there. So the aroma has to be there as well, or else it's gonna be kind of a 1 or 2 dimensional coffee. But it's definitely going to make you happy when it's a little bit cooler outside. The aroma is definitely warming. For aroma, I'm putting this at a 2.5 out of 5. Acidity. With this coffee, with acidity, it kind of changes because of the cream of the coffee. So if you include the cream into the coffee, it becomes less acidic and a little bit more sweet. But if you don't include the cream and just the coffee, it's going to be more bitter, more sour. So on the complete opposite side of the spectrum, if you don't mix the cream, it's going to be really sour and really bitter. But if you do, it's going to be more so closer to the middle. But if you do mix it, it becomes tame, it becomes mellow. Nothing really sticks out. It becomes more balanced than it was in the beginning when you didn't include the cream in it. So it kind of changes as the coffee goes on in terms of acidity if you wanted to go that route. But if you don't and you just want it to be bitter, you can also go down that route and not include the cream in it. The coffee being bitter doesn't wash out the flavor as much as the cream would. Having the cream in the coffee, it does take away from the flavor of the actual coffee, of the actual espresso. So if you don't include it and you don't mix it into the coffee, you're going to get that real strong coffee taste. So if you really want to enjoy what the coffee has to offer, what kind of a taste has to offer, as opposed to including other ingredients, then don't mix the cream with the coffee, because you're going to find out what kind of notes are in the coffee, as opposed to having the cream and everything else cover it up. For acidity, I'm giving this about 3.5 out of 5. Let's talk about flavor. The majority of the coffee is a cold brew, so I am picking up that instead of anything else in the coffee. Once the coffee breaks through the creaminess that's on top, you're getting that bitterness flavor, but the bitterness is really strong. So it's definitely going to be the main attraction in this coffee is that bitterness flavor, as opposed to maybe the creaminess of the coffee, adding a little bit of a sweetness to it. You're getting a prominent bitter coffee similar to a real cold brew, and then the creaminess of the coffee is adding to the flavor ever so slightly by calming it down and providing a unique type of flavor to it. And it is almost kind of being the same as Aroma. So when I was smelling the coffee and I was getting a little bit of that taste, I'm almost getting 100% equal value in terms of taste. So it's kind of doing a good job with Aroma. Even though Aroma is slight, the flavor is really prominent. It's really flavorful and impactful. But I am picking up that kind of earthy taste to it because it is a cold brew, because it's kind of a one-dimensional coffee in terms of taste if you take out the cream on top. But if you're able to mix the cream with the coffee, you're able to get kind of similar to a middle of the ground type of sweetness to it. If you don't mix the cream, you're gonna get a really bitter flavor, but if you mix the cream, the espresso and the coffee is toning down and the creaminess is increasing the sweetness ever so slightly. And then this coffee also has espresso beans in it, so if you happen to get that in your mouth when you're drinking the coffee, it adds a little bit of an extra bitterness to it, a little bit more complexity to the flavor. But the coffee does demand attention. When you're drinking this coffee, it is really bold and it's really brash and it's really in your face, and it's gonna be definitely memorable because it's such a strong cold brew. And the coffee is balanced. I'm not getting any real changes as opposed to maybe just drinking the coffee cold brew and not the cream, and then mixing the cream with the coffee. So it depends on what kind of a sip you're gonna take, depends on what kind of an experience with coffee you're gonna get. So if you keep it consistent and do it one-sided, you're gonna get a balanced coffee. But if you mix it up and include the cream with the sip every once in a while, you're gonna have an unbalanced coffee experience if you're into that. But the flavors do come together perfectly. The creaminess doesn't make the coffee worse. It doesn't make it, that much different. And then also the cold brew and the coffee also doesn't make the cream taste worse, and vice versa. So it's definitely gonna be a good experience whether you choose to drink the coffee with the cream or without the cream. So for flavor, I'm putting this at 4 out of 5. Let's talk about body. First sip of the coffee, when the coffee breaks through the cream, it does feel flavorful, it does feel thick and mouthful, but the texture is there. It does still feel creamy. You still get that nice coating on your tongue. The bitterness of the coffee is not creating a weird texture on your tongue. The cream is making it smooth, it's making it nice. It does feel like you're drinking a coffee with just a nice coating of cream on top. So it's not going to be overbearing in terms of the taste of the bitterness of the coffee. And it's sticking around for a long time. Even when it's in your mouth, it's sticking around and it's coating your tongue. So unless you wash it out, it's going to stick around even when the coffee is gone. So that's why the aftertaste is so unique. And this kind of changing from the beginning to the end, it's not really staying as consistent as it should because of that uniqueness of having the cream in the coffee or having it without. And it is providing a little bit more of a dry feeling as opposed to a wet. And the one lingering feeling that I'm getting in this coffee is that cream. It's kind of changing the taste of the coffee because it's covering up the true flavor of the coffee and the espresso. And then even when the coffee is gone, it's still lingering. It's still providing a unique type of sensation and flavor. So you're going to get the coffee taste even when the coffee is gone. For body, I'm putting this at about 3.5 out of 5. Let's talk about complexity. The look of the coffee, I would say, is more complex than typical cold brews because they're all just the same color and they don't really include the cream or the espresso or the coffee beans in the coffee like this coffee does. Even the shop being a kind of a pop-up shop, it's different than most that have that pop-up shop type of look. This one is more modern and more up to date, so it's gonna tailor more to the 2021, 22 crowd as opposed to maybe the 1990s or 2000s. They don't brand the coffee cup, but that's fine. because of the presentation of the coffee, having the cream up top, the coffee in the middle, the espresso at the bottom, and then they also threw in espresso beans for presentation. And then also being able to pick your experience when you're drinking the coffee, if you want to include the cream with it, or if you want to just enjoy the normal coffee with espresso and then leave the cream till the end. So you get to choose what kind of experience you want with this coffee. And then that's where the taste comes in. You get to choose what kind of a taste you want. So it's, you know, different experiences, different tastes, similar aroma, but you get to choose if you want more espresso, more coffee, more creamer, based on how you take the sip. And for versatility, I think this coffee is super versatile. You're not gonna be able to just drink this coffee at one point during the day or one point during the week. This coffee is versatile to be your cold brew. I do see myself picking up this coffee in the morning, in the afternoon when I'm tired before I go to the gym. It's not complex enough to where I want to reserve this for when it's just cold out or for the holidays. I'm able to pick this up at 7 a.m., at 12, at 3 or 5. For complexity, I'm putting this at a 4 out of 5. All in all, the cream top from Maru Coffee got 70% out of 100. Thank you so much for watching Cafe and Views. Tune in next time to see where we're going next. Peace.